Um, Obviously, we're going to have a little fun today with layers, and we're going to have a little fun with colors, and we're going to have a little fun with the backgrounds. Now, the other thing that we're going to cover is translucency. Now, the reason I'm addressing this issue at this particular time is I've already set you loose on the different tools here. Now, you've got your toolbar, you've got different selection tools, you've got different paint brushes, you've got erasers, you've got color checkers, cloning tools, you've got recolor, you've got curve lines, you've got predetermined shapes, and you've got a myriad of choices for all those things. Today we're going to cover literally just a couple, and we're going to stick with the text theme because text is something that we can all relate to. You don't have to be an artist to even attempt to do it. However, as you get into other things and more deeper projects within this program, you're going to find that these other tools are very handy and helpful as well. Not even close to starting on the custom brushes yet, but this will be a good basis so that you can understand how all this correlates together. Now, we've covered the shapes, the text, the different things like that, the different tools that you can use. Now, we're going to select a tool, and if I select something here, okay, please be aware, if I'm selecting something here and I'm on the background layer, I'm only going to choose what's on the background layer with this selection. So if I do want to move the text, I do need to go and I do need to move this selection of my layers up to the layer I need to work on. That is very critical when you're dealing with many layers. It's also critical for getting your effects correct. I have made numerous mistakes myself working with something only to realize, oh, doggone it, I'm on the wrong layer. I got to go back and recreate it. So please be situationally aware as regards to the layer you're working on, the effect you're trying to create. Now, just to give you an example, I've created 2 layers of text and 3 layers of background. Now, the reason I've done this is to demonstrate both the versatility of this program and also the flexibility that you can get within this program for shading, for layering, for coloring, and for transparency with regards to the colors, the color changes, and the depth of the color or the illusion of depth that you can get in a project. I've heard artists say that the darker the color is, the more depth you get out of the picture you're looking at. In this case, we're just going to cover the basics on the layers. Please be aware of this. Also be aware of the tools here on the layering window here. You've got adding layers, deleting layers. You've got duplicating layers, which means I can duplicate whatever it is that I'm working on to use as a template if I want to for creating an effect. If you've got something set up and you're doing well with it and you don't want to accidentally erase it or delete it or change it or modify it, you can always duplicate the layer and work on the duplicate. You can title it as a duplicate layer. You'll know instantly what it is, and it's a good idea to double click and rename your layers. In this case, I'm not going to do it simply because I already know that layers 2 and 3 both have text in them. Layer number 5 has my yellow background. The background layer on the top is black. The background layer on the bottom is white. And I can uncheck it and make my background disappear and change it to a black. Now you notice the black is translucent or transparent. And if I double click on it, you can see here, I can set that from 0 up to 255, 111 being almost translucent, and 100 is about in the middle of the road. Or you can use this slider here, take it all the way down to black. Now you also notice as I go from black to translucent, you will notice that on my text here that I have marked, go ahead and do this. Set that. Now you'll notice you can see the yellow text, but you can't see the yellow layer. And you also can't see the gray layer of text that I have here. You can't see the actual black text that I have here over the top of the blue, which is exactly my point as far as layering and the effects that you can get. I can drop these down. I can change the translucency. Let me demonstrate. Okay, the black is translucent. The yellow is at 50% translucency. Now, if I pull this up and I make it visible, you can see it change to a mustard color because you're bleeding the black through the translucent yellow. It's set at about 100. Okay, so be aware of that. Every single layer that you change, modify, or you change these different effects, it's going to change what you see. It's going to change the overall effect that you're dealing with. And as you notice with color dodge, reflection, glow, overlay, it all has an effect. Okay, so please be aware of this. If you're not sure when you're dealing with a particular layer, start in normal. Go through the different modes here to check which is going to work best with your project. Please be aware that these layers, the translucency, and the different objects that you place onto each layer, or transparency if you will, which is basically these layers up here are transparencies like plastic sheets. These down here are solid sheets with translucent options. Okay, so please be aware of that, and also be aware that each of these is going to have an effect. Now, going back to the selection tool, I can select something and I can move the selected pixels, or I can move the selection. Now in this case, I will move the selection by clicking on Move Selection. Doesn't have an effect. Okay, why? Because I'm moving what I've selected, and if I click here, I can cover it up. But that's only because what I selected was down here on the white background layer. You have to be aware of what you're selecting, what layer you're on when you're selecting it, and how it's going to affect things. You notice I just removed the gray by putting the white over the top of it. Okay, now if I deselect that and I go back up here to layer number 2, I can select it and I can move it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and we'll pick this up in a moment.